The famine-era landscape that shapes your survival is not merely a backdrop of national tragedy, but a living testament to the resilience buried beneath systemic erasure. And true endurance requires not just outlasting starvation through sheer will, but integrating the weight of collective grief until identity becomes an act of radical remembrance rather than silent assimilation. In The Irish Girl, Sandy Taylor transforms historical fiction into profound exploration of feminine sovereignty and intergenerational healing, proving liberation isn't found in escaping the past, it's forged in honoring the women who were silenced when every imperial narrative demanded they remain invisible. This psychologically precise narrative makes every stolen moment of tenderness feel like both defiance and legacy, where consent to remember is negotiated through self-trust rather than assumed obligation, and peace means protecting your voice when history demands you remain mute. From peat smoke and salt tears narration, listeners enter worlds where memory is syntax and presence is the only unbreakable vow, perfect for fans of emotionally intelligent historical fiction, where female complexity defies victimhood tropes. When young Alara Vance flees her ravaged village for uncertain passage abroad, she expects mere survival, not to discover her journey mirrors the exact suppression endured beneath generations of performative stoicism. And fellow traveler Julian Thorne's quiet refusal to treat her as casualty creates space for connection defying class and colonial hierarchy. Navigating shipboard hardships and buried attractions, Alara realizes this exodus isn't about escape, but recalibration. With Taylor avoiding reducing Alara to tragic orphan or Julian to savior figure, instead crafting radical reciprocity within constraint, where trust is earned through honoring boundaries, even as trauma blurs them. An audiobook narration amplifies this alchemy by capturing Alara's disciplined composure fracturing into clarity, and Julian's guarded intensity revealing warmth beneath vigilance, making listeners feel seismic shifts of souls learning some futures can only be claimed when you stop letting empire define their validity. What elevates this beyond typical historical fare is portraying diasporic intimacy as somatic practice rather than romanticized suffering, with Alara confronting how colonial culture equated worth with compliance, while Julian creates sanctuary where her contradictions exist without diminishment. Their relationship evolving through shared silences during stormy nights, bypassing performance, rhythms protecting both physical safety and psychological integrity, and mutual defense against authorities mistaking solidarity for sedition. Supported by fellow passengers encoding suppressed grief, elders carrying ancestral weight, and the ocean itself absorbing centuries of unspoken bargains, reinforcing that in erasure-based systems, tenderness toward memory is technique, and presence is sustainable resource, with survival rituals mirroring emotional attunement and whispered stories becoming metaphors for earned trust. For audiobook listeners, this production is immersive descent into sacred remembrance, with narrators embodying Alara and Julian with remarkable distinction, sound design anchoring existential stakes through distant waves, rain against wooden holes, and hushed breath syncing with moments of clarity, pacing mirroring migratory cadence, from deliberate reflection to surging awakenings, ultimately redefining historical fiction by centering female epistemology within diasporic frameworks, and affirming that sometimes the most powerful act is choosing to remember fully, honoring whole self, even in landscapes shaped by loss.